be beaming, I be booming down that block. Everywhere you go, you know they know I'm hot.
What's the deal? What's going on, my good people? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you all are doing well. If this is your first time here, I want to welcome you. Pull up a seat. I hope you enjoy the content. And before we get into this video, I want to ask that you like, comment, share, subscribe, and go ahead and tap that bell while you're at it so you're notified anytime I drop a brand new video, go live, or schedule a premiere. All right, y'all. So I am back. I got some green lip mussels today. I got some potatoes. I got eggs. And that's it. I got some lemons on the side. I got a butter sauce. I'm gonna let y'all know what's in here. And when I let y'all know too, the ingredients will also be in the description along with the measurements too. So I'll let y'all know that as well. I'm gonna go ahead and get things started with the green lip mussels. I haven't had these and I don't even remember the last time. I can't even remember. So I'm so happy that we reunited. Let me get some sauce. Y'all put onions in the sauce. This is the same sauce that I made the last time I had mussels, y'all, which was like a couple weeks ago. Only difference is it has onions in it. A lot of onions. So let me get some onions so y'all can see that drip action. Look at that, y'all. Ooh, yes. Damn. That one wanted to fight with me. Let's do that again. Let's try it with the egg. Potato as well. Let me give y'all some potato, my bad. That's so good. Y'all, this really feel like a treat, okay? All right, so let me tell y'all what's in the sauce. Let me check it and look at it again. Y'all see all that garlic and stuff? So, I wrote it down because last time, I think I might have forgot something, but this time I got y'all. So, this has a stick of butter, a half a teaspoon of jalapeno garlic pepper, which is my low sodium seasoning, a half a teaspoon of smoked paprika. There's some sauteed onions in here, 2 tablespoons of minced garlic because I love the garlic, 1 tablespoon of CHAM dipping sauce, and half of a lemon. Now this is CHAM dipping sauce. I'm gonna tell you some of the main ingredients in here if you don't have this. Lime juice, fish sauce, water, Thai chili peppers, garlic, and cilantro. That's what's in here. So if you want to do like some variation of that, then you know what I'm saying? You can make it work. But it's so good. I will put the recipe in the description as well. If anybody out there wants to try the CHAM dipping sauce for the first time, y'all know I talk about it all the time because it's my favorite. There's a link in my description as well where you can get it. But this sauce will still work without the CHAM dipping sauce in it. It just give it an extra little flair. You know what I'm saying? So what's up, y'all? How the week going? How y'all feeling? It's been a good week. It's going by fast, I know that. but it's been good. I can't complain. I'm happy to be back with another story time. I'm excited about that. That's what I've spent a good chunk of this week doing, is putting the story together, figuring out how I wanted to end it. So I'm just way too happy about this. It took me forever to even try mussels, but once I tried them, gave them a chance, fell in love. Oh, let me do, I want a lot of onions. I want a lot of onions on this one. Yes. It's a lot of onions, a lot of garlic. Look at that, y'all. Ooh, it's about to be good. I feel like I ain't said much. So for y'all that really like eating and the food, this one really is for y'all, for real. Cause I ain't really said much. And if y'all make the sauce, you know, make adjustments to it as you need. You know what I'm saying? Add more or whatever you need. It's real messy. That's when you know it's good though, when it's messy. All right, I'm about to get ready to do story time. I gotta do one more mussel for sure. All right, one more potato and one more egg. Then we'll get started. I'm a very happy woman right now. Very, very happy, okay? All right, y'all, so it is time for story time. So food is done, and if food is your thing, that was the first part of the video. If story time is your thing, the rest of the video is for you. And before we get started, please be sure to share this video. Twitter, Facebook, family chat, best friend chat, whoever, doesn't matter. Please go ahead and share this video out. And also, please be sure to watch the ads for this video and all videos of mine that you enjoy, as well as for any other creators here on YouTube, okay? It's a really big help. So this story is about Elise and Ashton. They are a married couple. They're in their 30s. They live in LA, in Los Angeles. So they dated for 4 years, you know, and they've been married for the last 6 years. And Ashton is a graphic designer for like a really big art studio in downtown LA. And Elise, she's a lawyer. She's a big-time lawyer. Well, she's becoming a big-time lawyer. She's picked up a couple of really big clients recently and won like some really huge cases recently. So she has a lot of steam around her name right now. So she's picking up a lot of traction. And, you know, demands like hot, like top dollar for her work and what she does, right? So they have a pretty good life together. They have a house. They don't have any kids. And I mean, their marriage is a little bit rocky. The last year and a half, things have been a little bit rocky. Their communication has kind of been off. Elise has really been just like tunnel vision at work. She's been working a lot on times and days when she's not supposed to be working. You know, when she's at the maximum for her caseload, she takes on more cases. And, you know, Ashton just kind of feels neglected in the relationship, you know, and they're just not really seeing eye to eye. You know what I'm saying? And now I will say this, to make matters worse, what ends up happening is that Ashton loses his job. So he loses his job as a graphic designer, and he's not in any rush to find work. So a couple weeks go by after he loses his job, and Elise is like, so what's up? And he's like, what do you mean what's up? And she's just like, so what about you finding a job, or at least doing some freelance work, or maybe starting your own business? Like, you had a lot of really good relationships, so what's up? He's like, you know, I'm just taking it easy. Like, I've been going hard, you know, for the last few years, and now I have some time off. You know, I want to really enjoy this time, because when I get back to working, like, it's going to be go, go, go. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me chill for a little bit. And so she's like, no, like, you know, we need to have a certain amount of income coming in. And he's like, we're fine. Like, our finances are good. We're not tapped into the savings. Like, we're good. You know what I mean? For a little while. And plus, I'm getting unemployment. And she's like, unemployment, $450 a week, like, that ain't gonna cut it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you need to be bringing in way more than that. And he's like, but I mean, you big time, like, you making money, so what's the big deal? And so she's just like, look, you need to get it together. And he's like, I don't understand. Like, when you were in law school, I was holding things down. So, I mean, you should be able to hold things down for a little bit. You know, I'm not saying I'm not going back to work. I'm just saying, you know, let me chill for a little bit. So that causes arguments, and they have these different rifts around him, you know, not going back to work or not freelancing. And in the middle of all of this, Elise ends up getting pregnant. So they were having some fertility issues for a while, and they kind of let the whole baby thing go. So they're both really surprised that she's pregnant. And, you know, part of her hopes that this kind of like gets them back on a good page, you know, and kind of like calms the things that have been going on between them, and, you know, fewer arguments and stuff like that, right? So things are going okay in her pregnancy at first, but eventually she ends up miscarrying the baby. And there's just a lot of tension in the house, and just a lot of grief. Like, they're both heartbroken, you know what I'm saying? Because it was supposed to be this thing that might bring them back together, and then it doesn't happen, and then just losing a child, you know what I'm saying? Something that they both really wanted, but had given up on it because they had been having issues, right? So during this, it's a lot of tension in the house. They're barely talking, and all of a sudden, you know, her friends and family show up to the house, you know what I mean? Her mom is out of town, flies in, her sister comes in, her best friend Tanika is over, her other friends are over, coworkers are over, and nobody is really there for Ashton. You know, Ashton has been so busy working and has been in his marriage that he hasn't really done a good job of like maintaining his relationships with his friends and his boys and his family. He's just really disconnected and like to himself, an introvert, doesn't really reach out to people. Definitely the kind of person to keep in touch on social media, but doesn't have like those personal relationships. So nobody really knows what's going on for him, you know what I'm saying? Or going on with him. So, you know, here it is. Elise has everybody in her corner, checking on her, cooking for her, grocery shopping, doing laundry, cleaning the house. Like, her family and friends have shown up for her big time, you know? And Ashton kind of just sitting back observing all of this, because it's just like, I mean, I lost a baby too, and nobody's really checking on him. He's just kind of on the outside looking in, and, you know, all of the energy is being directed towards Elise only, you know what I'm saying? And this makes him feel some kind of way, you know what I'm saying? And also too, that Elise doesn't, you know, direct any of this energy towards him, is not telling people to go and look out for Ashton. You know, Ashton needs this, like, it's just not happening. So he just really feels neglected, and this doesn't help. Like, they already weren't in a good place, and this makes things worse. So after, you know, everything kind of calms down, everybody, a couple weeks after the miscarriage happens, the friends, the family, everybody, you know, slows down. Her mom goes back home. Her sister goes back home, you know, and Tanika, her and Tanika are best friends. So Tanika is around, but just not as much as she used to. So things have slowed down. And, you know, one night Ashton decides to go on like a drinking binge. He's hanging out, he's drinking, he at the strip club. And he comes home in the middle of the night, and he comes back with divorce papers. He's like, I'm good. Like, this is not it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've done all that we could do here. You know what I'm saying? Like, the writing is on the wall. I really feel like it's time for us to put this to him, you know, it's time to end things, you know what I'm saying? And at this point, you know, Elise is so burnt out and tired and doesn't really have it in her to fight for this marriage. So she gets the paperwork, and she's just like, this is what you really want to do? And he's like, yeah. Like, he seems really set. His mind is really made up about, you know, divorcing. And she's like, fine, I will sign. It takes her a day or two to sign, and they move into their divorce proceedings. You know, it's now time to figure out what's going to happen. And things start off okay, you know, during the process between their lawyers and stuff like that. But then things get kind of petty. You know what I'm saying? Ashton wants back all the jewelry that he's ever given to Elise since they started, you know, dating and, you know, started their relationship 10 years ago. And she's like, I'm not giving you the jewelry back. I'm not. And he's like, what about the heirloom? You know what I'm saying? I gave you an heirloom from my mom's side of the family. And she's like, no, like, you shouldn't have given it to me. I'm not giving you any of the jewelry back. I'm sorry. And so they go back and forth. The lawyers are going back and forth. You know what I'm saying? Ashton is dragging his feet on certain things. And as he's dragging his feet, it just adds more days. You know what I'm saying? More days, back and forth. And eventually they come to terms. So Elise gets the house. She gets the car. Now, because he's not working, she will have to pay him alimony. And he gets all the electronics. He can have all of the Apple devices. He can have the laptops. He can have the TVs. He can have all of it. You know what I'm saying? She's like, that's fine. I can replace everything. You can have it. You know what I'm saying? You'll put that stuff to use before I do anyway, so it's fine. So they go ahead and divorce. They go their separate ways, right? Now let's fast forward like 8 or 9 months. So 8 or 9 months have gone by, and Elise is surprisingly in a pretty good place. So what happened was, after the divorce happened, she went back to work. She wrapped up her cases. She took some time off work, and then she found a therapist. She took her time, got some recommendations, and surprisingly, the first therapist that she connected with was actually a really good fit. So she took the time that she needed to really work on her mental health, to process her grief around the divorce, the grief around her losing a baby, and, you know, just coming to grips with certain things. You know what I'm saying? Really, really sitting with what has gone on in her life. You know what I'm saying? And she also dealt with some other things that she hadn't dealt with in the past. Like this counselor, and this therapist really was a good fit for her and got her together, right? So when we see her fast forward 8 or 9 months, she's glowing, she looks happy, she has a new haircut. She just in a really good place. She's back to work. You know, she's winning. Her name is in the news. Like, she has high-end clients. Like, things are going really great for her. You know what I'm saying? Her house looks great. She's kind of redecorated things. She's replaced all of the electronics, you know, that she had to give up, you know, during the divorce. Everything is great. So now she's starting to hang out with her girlfriends and stuff too, because what she also wants to focus on is work-life balance, you know, and she can still have her career, but also making sure that she's okay. You know what I'm saying? Because she needs that. She doesn't have a companion at home, so she needs her girlfriend. So she makes it a point to go to happy hour, go over to game nights, go hang out for wine or whatever, right? So hanging out, things are going great. So eventually her best friend Tanika is like, so what's up? Like, I mean, seems like you should start dating. Are you ready for that? And so she's like, I mean, maybe. You know what I'm saying? I've been out of the game for a long time. Things look very different, you know, from the last time I was in a relationship once it started. So I don't even know the first thing to do. You know, I'm not really on social media like that. Like, you know, the page that I do have, you know, she does have to be active on social media because she's a lawyer and people look for her and stuff like that. But she pays somebody to do it. Like, she has an assistant that runs her social media page. So she's not connected like that on social media at all. She's very out of touch. And so her friends are like, I mean, you don't have to use social media to date. Like, why don't you let us hook you up? You know what I'm saying? So she's like, you know what? Okay, I trust you guys. Y'all know what I like. You know what I want. You know my type. And so a couple of her friends, you know, she gets set up on a date. She goes out with this guy. His name is Ed. And it is a disaster. It's a disaster. Like, things just don't go well. They don't communicate well. They're damn near arguing at the dinner table. Like, they had to get separate checks. Like, it was a disaster. They both basically end up having to leave before they even finished like their dinner. You know, her and her girlfriends were able to make jokes about it. You know what I'm saying? Talk about like what Ed was doing at the table, his etiquette, his temperament, his attitude, the way he was dressed, everything. Like, everything was like a running joke about this guy named Ed, right? So she was like, next. So then she goes on another date. She goes on a date with this guy named Silas. Now, things go really well with Silas, but she gets friendship vibes from him. He feels like her brother, you know what I'm saying? Or like her homeboy. And she's like, he's cute, but nah, like, this is not a thing. I think that we can go hiking together, we can hang out together, but I don't see myself being in a relationship with him. But okay, you know, I still want to be open, right? So she's still just like working, hanging out with her friends, going on dates, and nothing is really sticking, you know what I'm saying? So Tanika's like, look, you need to get on a dating app. Like, this hookup stuff ain't working. It's time for you to do something way different out of your comfort zone. Get on a dating app. There's this new one called Lover's Lane, and I heard it's popping. You know what I'm saying? I took a look at it, and it's a couple of guys on there that look like your type. So I think you should go for it. It's brand new, very easy to use. Like, let me help you set up your profile. She's like, all right, I'm gonna be open. So yes, help me set up my profile, help me pick my pictures that I put on there, help me write my bio, and let's see what's up, right? So she's on the app, you know, figuring things out. Like, she usually gets on there at night before she goes to bed. So after she's had her long day at work, she comes home, she usually showers, she eats dinner, might have some wine, and then maybe around 10, 11 o'clock when she's ready to call it a night, she'll get into bed and like look at the app for like 20, 30 minutes, right? And nothing has really caught her eye. The couple of guys that are her type, aesthetically, they look good. You know, she likes their height. She likes the way that they look. They have beards, you know. It's just the things in their bio. Like, they just seem like assholes. So she's just like, nah, that's not it either. You know what I'm saying? So just when she's thinking about, you know, getting rid of this app, she's ready to delete it. Like, this is a waste of time. Like, I'm good. I feel like I have invested more than enough time to see what's up, and there is nothing to see here. So just as she is about to consider, you know, deleting the app, she runs across this guy named Jared. So she was like, okay, brand new to the app. She loved his bio. She loved the pictures that he selected. He's active. He loves the outdoors. You know, seems to have a pretty good relationship with his family. Now, the only thing that stood out to her was that he lives in Seattle. So she was like, a long distance relationship? Like, I mean, okay, I could work with that. I could work with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's an architect. So he's an architect. I'm a lawyer. You know, going back and forth and flying, you know, back and forth shouldn't be an issue, you know, financially. And she was like, Seattle was not that far. Okay, like, let me see what's up. So they ended up connecting and they hit it off. Like, the first couple of conversations they had on the app go really, really well. You know what I'm saying? She could feel Jared's personality, you know, as they're, you know, sending messages and stuff. So this is how it goes. They are talking for 1 week on the app. And then after that, he asked for her telephone number and they talked for 2 weeks on the phone. And she really enjoys Jared. Like, she loves his sense of humor. She loves that he's a great listener. Like, he is very attentive. He asks really good questions. He has really good taste in music. Like, everything about him is just really working out. So Elise ends up going to Tanika like, this just feels too good to be true. Like, I don't know. Like, this, something about it ain't right. And Tanika is like, what? Like, how you gonna say you open to dating? You find somebody that you like, and now you want to back out of it? Like, come on. Typical. Like, don't sabotage the situation. Just go with the flow and see what happens. And she's just like, I don't know. Like, he's long distance. And she was like, look, do something different. There's nothing wrong with dating long distance. She was like, check this out. Let me tell you the upside to it. You don't have the responsibility of the day-to-day. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to see the person every single day, right? And then you could turn around and give them the very best view when y'all do see each other. So if you go see him for 5 days, you can give him your very best for those 5 days. You get what I'm saying? So she was just like, okay, you make it sound good. All right. I am going to continue giving him a chance. So 2 weeks go by with him talking on the phone. 3rd week goes by. You know, he's really consistent. He texts. You know, he calls when he says he's going to. If he has to call back, he calls back. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything is just checking out with this dude, right? So now get ready to go into the 4th week. He's like, look, you know, I'm ready to take things to the next level. I want to go on a date. So she was like, go on a date? And he's like, yeah, like, you know, I want to take you on a date on Zoom. I know that it's not ideal, but that's how we're going to have to communicate quite a bit. You know what I'm saying? And I want to see you. I want to, like, see your body language. I want to hear you laugh. I want to see you laugh, you know? And so she's like, okay, all right, we'll do this date thing. That's fine. Okay. He was like, bet. All right, I got something planned out. You're going to enjoy it. He was like, it's going to be a surprise. Like, I'm not going to tell you in advance. And I can't wait. Like, I think it's something that you're really going to enjoy. So fast forward, you know what I'm saying? It's now date night. And, you know, Elise is at work. She's giddy. She doesn't have to be in court this day, but she's just in her office. You know, the time is going by very slow. She's looking at her watch. You know, she kind of has butterflies a little bit because she's a little bit nervous. Like, how do I prepare for this virtual date? What do I do? She's thinking about what she's going to wear. Like, she's kind of checked out at work, right? So she ends up calling it an early day. She leaves her office around 3. She gets home. And, you know, she showers, she goes through her closet, just thinking like what she's going to wear. What color? Should I wear a dress? You know, should I wear pants? Like, what should I do? She's going through hairstyle. She's going through makeup. Like, she's using like 3 or 4 hours of time to prepare for this day, right? So she is just about dressed. And then she gets an email notification and it's from Jared. It has the Zoom information. You know, he says he can't wait to see her. Smiley face, got a little wink, got a little kissy face on there. You know what I'm saying? So she's excited. Like, she cannot wait. Like I said, the butterflies have kind of settled in her stomach. And she's really happy that she really gave herself a chance to try something different. Because she's like, I done met a great guy. Like, I'm excited, like, about this next chapter of my life. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, even though she was in a good place after therapy, she was really sketchy about how dating was gonna go because she hasn't done it in so long, right? So Elise grabs her laptop and she goes into the kitchen. You know what I'm saying? She sets it up on the counter. But then she was like, you know what? I'm gonna use my iPad instead. So she sets the iPad up on the counter in the kitchen, and she's like in the bar area, pours herself a glass of wine. She clicks on the Zoom link and she's waiting to be let inside of the meeting, right? Now it looks like there's a company that's hosting this meeting. She was like, okay, I mean, I guess it's a part of our date. Okay, cool. So as soon as the clock strikes 8, she's let into the Zoom. And it's not just her. She sees Jared, but there's other people, like maybe 6 other people total in this meeting. And the host looks like she's somewhere like she's by the water or whatever. And she quickly realizes that the host is in Costa Rica. So she also realizes that they're on a virtual tour to Costa Rica. Now, this is really important to her. This is like some super brownie points for Jared because he really listens. And she's been dying to go to Costa Rica. As much as she's traveled, she's never had a chance to go to Costa Rica. It's at the top of her list. Every time she's planned a trip, something has always happened. It was weather, something came up with a case, her flight got canceled. So she's been trying to get here. She wants to eventually, you know, when she retires, she wants to like retire in Costa Rica. So this is like so amazing to her, like to be able to go on a virtual tour and see Costa Rica through this person's lens, like see what it is that they want to showcase and, you know, what they want to share with her, you know, share with the group about, you know, whatever they're going to look at, right? So they go through this hour-long virtual tour and she's just smiling ear to ear the whole time, drinking her wine. She got some pasta off to the side and she's just like on cloud 9, like this can't get any better, right? So after the virtual tour comes to an end, you know, her and Jared get on a Zoom of their own together, right? And he's drinking, she's drinking, you know what I'm saying? He's sitting in his kitchen, she's sitting in her kitchen, and they just vibing, like, but she is so happy. She's like, I cannot believe that you set this up. Like, where did you find this? He was like, I was on Airbnb Experiences. It was the first thing that popped up. As soon as I got on there, it was meant to be. And, you know, the dates and stuff worked out. Like, I'm so happy that we got a chance to go. Like, I've never been to Costa Rica before. You know, maybe we'll get a chance to go together. She's like, you know, maybe. Or whatever. So they just sitting up just talking, like just enjoying each other's company. You know what I'm saying? She was telling him like what she had in her pasta. So at this point, they're just vibing, like they're just chilling, they're talking, they're laughing, you know, just catching up, you know, talking about like what they both were doing to prepare for the date, you know, and he's like in so many words, just asking her about a second date. And then all of a sudden, you know, her back is to the window. You know, it's a big window that's behind her, but she can't see out the window because her back is to it because she's sitting on like a bar stool in her kitchen, right? So all of a sudden she sees this look on Jared's face, and Jared is like, he looks kind of startled a little bit, and she's like, are you okay? And he was like, I feel like I just saw something by your window. And she turns around and she's like, are you sure? And he's like, yeah, like I just saw something go by. Like, is that window positioned by like an open area or something? And she was like, no, like nobody should be back there. And he's like, okay, maybe I'm tripping, you know, maybe I'm tripping. So they continue talking, you know, they get back into the rhythm of what they were talking about, try to remember where they left off, and they, you know, pick up things, and they continue talking. So maybe like 5 minutes go by and she hears a loud noise outside. And she's like, did you hear that? And he's like, yeah, I did hear that. And so she gets up and she's kind of looking or whatever, and she doesn't see anything outside the window. And she's, you know, looks at her ring, you know, for the door. There's nothing outside of the door or whatever. And she's like, maybe something's going on with my neighbors or something. I don't know. Whatever. Like, it's fine. She's like, maybe it's the wine. Maybe I'm tripping. Like, whatever. So then she sits back down. As soon as she does, the lights start to flicker. So she's just like, that's strange. You know, you think I should go out to the box? He's like, no, do not go out to the box. I don't know. This seems a little strange to me. And then he's like, oh, look, I see the thing again. Like there's somebody just walked by. I'm sorry. I saw it. I know that I'm not tripping. I know I'm not tripping. And she's like, you're scaring me. He's like, I'm not trying to. He was like, I'm just telling you what I see. And so then she's like hearing these different noises, that there is definitely somebody by her house, right? And so he's like, why don't you go upstairs and, I don't know, maybe call the police? I mean, if it's a false alarm, it's a false alarm. Like, but better safe than sorry. He's like, take me with you. Like, don't hang up. You know, take me with you. So as soon as she grabs the iPad and she's about to turn to go up the stairs, there's a hand that covers her mouth, and it's in a black glove. It covers her mouth and her eyes just bulge because somebody was in the house, right? And so she drops the iPad on the ground, and Jared is looking up, and she accidentally muted Zoom, so he's talking but you can't hear him, but he's just like freaking out because he sees everything that's happening. So he sees this person dressed in all black, they have like a ski mask on, and they're covering her mouth, and you can see her like she's not struggling because the person told her to be quiet. They put a gun to the side of her head and they told her just be quiet. Now this person's voice is distorted, it's not a regular speaking voice. And so she calms down and, you know, stops struggling like the person asked her to. And so the person looks down and sees Jared on the iPad, and they step on the iPad, right? So Jared is now cut off. And so the person, you know, they walk her over to the couch and tell her to sit down. She sits down and does exactly as she's told. And they're like, whatever you do, do not scream, right? So she sits on the couch, she eases back. Now the person keeps their eyes on her, but they kind of step to the side a little bit and they unlock the front door, right? And then they step back to the left so they can be, you know, stand right in front of her. And they just have their eyes on her, like they're not giving her any demands or anything like that. And they just have the gun pointed at her. And it just goes on for a couple of seconds, maybe 30 seconds, 45 seconds or so. And then suddenly the front door opens. She can hear it open, but she can't see right away who came in. She hears footsteps. Then a couple seconds go by, and then the person comes around the corner, and it's Jared, the guy that she was on a date with. And she's just like, you know, she's looking like, what the fuck are you doing here? And he's like, surprise, sweetheart. Are you happy to see me? And he goes close to her and he rubs her cheek, like he caresses her cheek. And then he pulls her in close and he kisses her on her cheek, and she tries to pull away. And he's like, don't pull away from me. Don't pull away from me. It's like, it's so good to see you. So good to see you in person. You know, and then he's just kind of like walking around and pacing, and she's just like looking like, what the fuck is going on? What is about to happen? So Jared is kind of pacing around. He's pacing around, had his hand in his pockets, kind of fidgeting around. And he's like, you know, I've been talking to you for the last, 4 weeks or so? He was like, you know, I want to tell you this because it's just really important. You need to know this. He was like, you're really a self-centered bitch. Like, I've never met anyone like you before. How is it that you managed to make everything about you? Like, I don't even think you realize that you do it, but you do. And I hate that shit about you. And I'm so glad that I could tell you face to face. And she's like, fuck you. He was like, hey, funny you should say that too. That's exactly what's about to happen. He's like, get up, let's go upstairs. And she's like, for what? He's like, stop talking, let's go upstairs. So she goes upstairs first. She leads him up there. Jared is right behind, and then the guy is behind Jared. They go up the stairs. They get to the top of the stairs, and Jared is like, I don't know where you keep all your lawyer stuff or whatever, but I want all your cases. I need all the paperwork associated with every single one of your cases. And she's like, what? Like, yeah, give me all the shit. Give me all the paperwork. Everything you have here. You may have some stuff at your office, but whatever you have here, I need you to hand that over. And so she does as she's told. And so he takes it, you know, he puts it in like this bag or whatever. And now he's like, okay, let's go to your bedroom. Lead me to the bedroom. And so she does as she's told. They go into the master bedroom, and immediately the guy that's with Jared goes to the jewelry box, and cleans it out. Chains, necklaces, everything, anklets taken, rings, earrings, gets everything out of this jewelry box. And so he's like, okay, good. Now, take us to the safe. I need you to go ahead and open the safe right now. And so she's looking at, she's kind of hesitant. And he's like, come on. I know you have a safe up in here. I know you do. Trust me. I know you do. So go ahead and open it. And so she goes to the closet and she slides it open because it's kind of hidden in her closet. She pulls things to the left and to the right. And of course the safe is revealed, and she puts in her code and she opens the door. She pulls it back. And Jared looks in, he sees money. He pulls out about $20,000, and then he sees 2 diamond rings. They look like antique rings or whatever. And he puts the money in his pocket, and he's about to put the rings in his pocket as well. And, you know, just as he's about to do that, you know, the guy that he's with is like, yo, like, what are you doing? Like, I need my part of the money, and both of the rings are for me. I thought we agreed on that. Like, we agreed that I was going to take the rings. So now, mind you, this person's voice is distorted. Keep that in mind, y'all. So they going back and forth. And so Jared is like, yo, we can sort that out later. He's like, no, give me the ring. you take one, I take one, and give me half of the money. Like, you're not about to take everything right now. And so they going back and forth, and that means that their focus is not really on Elise at this point. So Elise takes this opportunity and kind of slides her hand over a little bit, and she grabs this knife that was tucked away in the closet. She grabs a knife and she hits Jared on the side of the neck, right? And so his body immediately just falls. Body falls, but it falls onto the guy that he's with, and that pushes him over onto his stomach. And then Elise climbs on his back and stabs him twice in the back. And so she does it, and his gun flies out of his hand when he fell. And now she's just like frantic, can't even think what to do next. What should she do? So now she's like, she kind of fell in the middle of all of this. Now she's sliding back. She gets up and she rushes over to the nightstand. She calls 911, and she's telling them that somebody came. These guys are in her house, and I don't know. Like, I had a knife. I got the knife, and I don't know what's gonna happen. Police and the police, police and the ambulance. And she reaches in the drawer and she pulls out a gun. So she has a gun, and she has eyes on both of them, and they both are hurt pretty bad, you know. So the person, you know, the 911 operator is asking her all these different questions, and she's listening and answering as best as she can, you know, because again, she's frantic and her body is tense. And, you know, she looks over and she sees Jared, and she can hear Jared, but there's a whisper, and he's just like, help me, help me. Like, there's this blood just gushing out the side of his neck. And, you know, she looks over at the other guy, and he's not really moving, so she doesn't really know what's happening. I like, just please send somebody. She's like, please just get somebody here. I can't really answer all the questions right now. And, you know, the operator's like, don't hang up. Do not hang up. She's like, okay, fine. So she's on the cordless phone, and she has the, you know, the phone kind of tucked on her like this. And then she has the gun still on him, because Elise knows her way around guns and weapons. Like, that's not something that's like new to her. She grew up with this with her dad. So she has the phone here, and then she has the gun aimed at them. And, you know, she has to know who the fuck this is. Like, who is this person that is with Jared, you know? So she goes over, and her heart is racing, and it feels like it's racing even a little bit faster, because she's like, is just so afraid of who it is. Like, so she takes a deep breath. And then she grabs the ski mask and she just yanks it off. And it's her best friend, Tanika. What? So she, like, damn near drops the phone. It fumbles out of her hand. Her hand is now shaking with the gun. And she's like, what the fuck is Tanika doing here? Like, what's happening? Like, what? Why? Like, she has so many questions. And, you know, eventually the police show up. The ambulance show up. They take the bodies. But they don't make it, you know, they don't make it. And of course, you know, the police ask her a ton of questions. They ask the questions several ways, in different ways. You know, they question her over and over again, and she feels like she can't remember anything, but she says what she can, and she's just processing, because Jared is dead. Her best friend Tanika is dead. She doesn't understand why Tanika would do something like this. And what, you know what I mean? So they let her go, because they, you know, declared that it was self-defense. And, you know, now this has really just put Elise in a situation of, like, not trusting anybody. The trust is out the window for everybody, because it wasn't supposed to be Tanika. Tanika wasn't supposed to do something like this to her. This is not how it was supposed to ever happen between them. So she puts her house up for sale. She sells the house. She leaves LA. She moves to Costa Rica. She goes out there. She has more than enough money to live in Costa Rica, but she actually buys a bed and breakfast out there. So she does have, you know, a business up and running, but it's not high maintenance or anything like that. And it's what she does every day, you know, goes to the beach, but she's numb and she's empty and she's hurt and she's alone. Just so many questions that nobody can answer but Tanika. It's just like, why would my best friend ever do something like this? How do we get here, you know? And, you know, with her being a high-profile lawyer, you know, I told you her career was taking off. And, you know, the neighborhood where it happened, the nature of what happened, you know what I'm saying? It was all over the news. Of course, she was getting a ton of phone calls, so she ended up changing her number. Before she left LA, she stopped checking emails like that. And she just didn't say nothing. She put her house up for sale, and she didn't say nothing. She just left. She left and give anybody a heads up. And she started over in Costa Rica, you know? And, you know, she just does her best to get through the days. She has a manager that can run that does run the bed and breakfast, and she has a house in Costa Rica, so she spends time by herself. But she's just, what can you do? You know what I'm saying? What are you supposed to say? And, you know, one day she's at her house, she wakes up, she's drinking coffee, and she's on the balcony, you know, just trying to appreciate the things that are around her, but she can't stop reliving this nightmare over and over again of what happened. You know, what happened the last time she was in her house. And she checks an old email. She just decides to go on the old email for some reason. And when she goes in there, she's going through cleaning this email out, and she sees an email from Ashton. And it's like, urgent, please read ASAP. And this email is like a month old. So the situation at this point that went down in her house is like 2 months old. And this email from Ashton is like 1 month old, her ex-husband. So she opens the email. You know, they have not talked to each other since they, you know, finalized their divorce. And he's just saying like how he's sorry about everything that happened. He's sorry to hear what happened. And he was like, you know, my conscience is making me send this message. It's the right thing to do. You know, once we got divorced, I started talking to Tanika a lot more. And, you know, I was hurt. So I told her a bunch of stuff that you said about her, you know, how she was a freeloader, how you were tired of her, you know, using us for money, how you wanted her to get her shit together, you know, all the time that she wanted to just like cut her off, you know, all these different things that you've said over the course of our marriage. I told her, and I know that that wasn't the right thing to do, but my feelings got the best of me, and I did. And part of me just can't help but think that everything I said to her is what made her come after you like that. And I don't know if that's the case or not. I know you're not gonna ever get your answers, but I at least wanted to let you know. And I wanted to say sorry. Like I'm so sorry that this happened, and I'm sorry that I told her things that she never should have known. And I'm sorry. I hope this email gets to you. I hope it does. And she reads it, and that's it. I mean, she has nothing else to go off of other than, you know, the things that she may have said about her best friend, you know, about her being a freeloader, about her borrowing money, which she had done time and time again. And Elise was definitely tired of that shit, but this is not how it was supposed to happen. And that's the end. That's it. That's the story. Man, like, it's crazy, like, thinking about how people can come after you. You know what I'm saying? Like, how things can turn, things can change. You know, and maybe Tanika was being called a freeloader by several people in her life. You know, maybe she was jealous of the life that Elise had. You know, she was successful. She was becoming a high-profile lawyer, had the house. You know, she had the marriage. Like, she was living a great life. You know what I'm saying? Meanwhile, Tanika just couldn't get it right. She couldn't quite get it right. You know what I'm saying? And when she did, things would fall apart. You know what I'm saying? In her career, in her relationships, in her family life, everything. Excuse me. So that is the story. So for y'all that watched the video on Tuesday, I was telling you how this video was inspired by me and Laura. Y'all know, if you don't know, I'm in a relationship with somebody. We're long distance. I'm in California. She's in the DMV area. And I was just thinking, like, what if something like this happened where people who are dating, like, are lying about being long distance? What if the person actually lives in your state or doesn't really live in the state that they say that they live in? Like, because people are cuckoo. Y'all know that, you know what I'm saying? So anyways, that kind of got into my mind a little bit, you know what I mean? Like, how people misrepresent themselves. And clearly in this particular situation, like, Jared was in on this with Tanika. So, but yeah, y'all, so that's the story. Hope you enjoyed it. I had a good time telling it, putting it together. And so let me know what you think about the video. Meet me in the comments and let's talk about it. All right. So thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. Make the best of the day. Be good to yourself, y'all. Peace.
I be beaming, I be booming down that block. Everywhere you go, you know they know I'm hot.